Midnight Rider, Midnight Escape, Chapter 18. Caleb took the candle and descended the 4 stone steps that led down in the darkness. I'll lead away. The ceiling is low, so you have to stoop. Hannah followed in the musty and damp passageway. It's so dark in here. Let out candles, Caleb. We can't see a thing. Caleb held his candle flame to Hannah's and Will's, then began creeping ahead of them. That's better, except that now I can see what an ugly place this is, Hannah said, looking at the dirt walls that surrounded them. What if I, what if I, what if it caves in? The tunnel is safe. It's propped up with huge timbers. Caleb paused and held the candle high so she could see the wide planks. This tunnel must have been built with a mansion 100 years ago. Who built it? Hannah wondered. And why? We may never know, said Will. Well, so long as this is a way to get out and see Promise. I don't care how old or ugly it is, or how I got here, Hannah said. We're almost there, Caleb told them, and then soon he was climbing granite stairs leading to another wooden trapdoor. Hannah heard the squeaking of a hatch that leaves and sticks falling at the door rose. Caleb clambered up the steps that took her hand to pull her out. Will came out of the passageway. I'm glad to be out of that stinking hole, he claimed. We should dose the candle and leave them here with a flint box, Caleb said. Hannah brushed her clothes off and looked around. They were on a wooden lot near a small alleyway. Lights from the street failed to illuminate that out of the way plot of the island, and a large boulder obscured the entrance to the tunnel. Hannah and Will covered the hatch of the leaves while Caleb divided up the handbills. Now we're ready to deliver our messages, he said, pulling a cloth packet from his pocket and unfolding it. Here are tacks to mount them. You'll need a stone to hammer them in. Hannah found the stout rocks, and the trio walked out on the school street. It was late now. The streets would be empty except for any soldier who might pass by on patrol. There was none in sight. Well, will I have to see Promise? Hannah asked. Not tonight, Caleb said. We have a late start and we've got to post these leaflets. Hannah took off her hat and held it against the muffle of the sound she bounded. The first handbill on the main door of the courthouse on Queen Street. Will used the same method to post the second notice on the front door of the old South Meeting House. Under Caleb's direction, the small group moved quickly around the town, posting the warnings on the doors of buildings most likely to be used by lawyers and judges. Several times they crouched in shadows or alleys while redcoats on duty walked the streets. They have no idea we've defied the British right under their noses, Will whispered. By the time they finished, a few early risers were opening stores. The first pale light of morning lit their way back to School Street. Look! Someone had already torn down the leaflet I put on the meat house door, Will whispered, while reaching in the packet, pulled out his last copy and pounded it into place just as a soldier turned the corner further down the road and saw them. Who goes there? He yelled. Stop in the name of the king. The trio turned on School Street and raced in the alley where the entrance to the tunnel was located. They could hear the running footsteps. The soldier closed behind them as they crouched behind the huge boulder that shielded the hatch from view. Caleb grabbed the handle and pulled open the trapdoor. Get down there, quick! Hannah leaped in the opening while seized the candles and flint box and jumped in after her with Caleb right behind. They were silent for a moment, listening for the soldiers, but there was no sound above them. "He didn't see us," Caleb finally whispered. "Go," Hannah, Will whispered. "Move." First in line, this time without lighting, Hannah scrambled and groped in the darkness. The smell of damp earth and rotting wood made her feel sick. Still, nothing that she could get out of the province house whenever she needed to gave her a sense of freedom. "Light a candle, Will," she said, pausing. "We must be near the end by now." Will obeyed. Hannah could see the stone steps in front of her. "Push the door," Caleb told her. "It's not latched." Hannah lifted up the heavy door, letting in the morning light and the smell of the stable. Relieved, she climbed out and the boys followed her. "It's daylight now and the soldiers will be coming soon," she said. "I've got to fly." She dashed through the rear door of the barn and grabbed her clothes from the peg. She slipped into yesterday's uniform, dropping Han's clothing on the floor. "Will you pick up after me, Caleb?" she asked. "I must never be this late again." Hannah went to the well, pumped icy water into her hands, and splashed it on her face. She smoothed her hair, then dashed by the kitchen and in the nearby scullery, where Hannah was already boiling water in big tubes and on the fires. "May I have hot water for Miss Meg?" she asked. Annie obliged by filling a pitcher for her. "Hot water for washing would be a treat, Meg. A good excuse for being late." Meg was in dressing gown when Hannah entered the room. "You're late and you look like you're ragamuffin," she began, but she stopped and smiled when she saw the steaming pitcher in Hannah's hands. So they're just talking about how she was late for meeting Meg because she was talking to Caleb and Will about her seeing Promise and about how they're all the rules and how the soldier and they got stuck on the little like cave down there or the sewer. So yeah, that's what they were talking about. Meg washed blissfully but eyed Hannah from the mirror. "You need a clean smock, Hannah, and wear your clout." So they're just talking about how Meg is saying that she looks like a mess. "I'm sorry, Miss Meg," Hannah stammered. "I wasn't feeling well, and I fell asleep in my clothes last night, and when I woke it was rather late." She could feel her face redden, and it was always did when she lied. So it's just talking about how she Hannah did not have a good excuse to tell Miss Meg about what they were doing. So she's trying to lie, and what happens is her face always get red when she lies. Meg looked at Hannah with an amused smile. "That's strange. I was looking for you last night, and Catherine said you hadn't come to bed." When Hannah didn't reply, Meg continued, "Well, go change and I'll eat breakfast and the dinner in the dining room this morning." As Hannah left the room, Meg added, "I'll have to keep my eye on you, Hannah." So that was the end of chapter 18. Thank you.